Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Bark Night Podcast. I am your host, Patrick.
And I'm Dan.
Thank you for joining us this week. We are going to be reviewing our favorites from 2024 and our most anticipated for 2025.
Yes, sir.
So, we're going to spend the bulk of the episode on what our favorites are from last year because we have more to say about that because they're movies and shows that we have actually seen at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start with those, and then we're going to move into our most anticipated for 2025. And then we have a section where we're going to do things we're cautiously optimistic about. And what I put down was, I want to be excited, but I have a bad feeling about this.
I like that.
And so I have a couple movies prepared there, and so does Dan. Then
Yep.
we've got some honorable mentions, some news, and some physical media showcase. So, to jump right into it, our first section here is the best movie from another year that I didn't watch until this year. So, Dan, why don't you kick us off?
Right. And obviously, being big movie fans as we are, we do catch a lot of movies, but you can't see everything in a year. And sometimes you got to wait a bit to catch something. So, three standouts for me this year were Barbarian, which I hadn't seen until this year. Really enjoyed that one. Always a big fan of Justin Long. Nice to see him be a complete a-hole, which I liked. His House, which was actually suggested to us by our friend Sarah.
Oh, yeah, I
Sh-
forgot
yeah,
about that one. We watched that a while ago, didn't we?
yeah, I think it was like early last year.
Yeah,
But
that was like 6 or 8 months ago, I think.
yeah,
Forgot
but
about that one. Nice
yeah,
pull.
it stuck with me. That's a really good movie, and I'm glad she finally made us. She kind of guilted us into watching it, and I enjoyed it. But my overall pick for best movie from another year that I saw this year was Sisu. Have you heard of that movie?
I have
Have you
heard of
seen
it.
it?
I've seen a trailer for it. I have, in fact, not seen the movie.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where I wanted to watch it. Kind of like the whole idea of it. It's a Finnish farmer, not farmer. I'm sorry, Finnish prospector who finds gold, and in his attempts to take the gold to a bank to like deposit it, he comes across a retreating Nazi squad who try to steal his gold, and he goes all John Wick on them. And it's a crazy, over the top, violent, gory action flick, and I wasn't expecting it to be as ridiculous as it was, but yeah, I enjoyed the heck out of it.
I've heard good things about that one. It's been on my list to catch for a while. Yeah, I'm glad to hear about that. Those are all good movies. Barbarian, I saw at the movies with my mom, at the theater rather, and yeah, we both loved that one. the Not to spoil anything for that movie if anybody hasn't seen it, but like sometimes I'll be sitting there and I'll just be like, the baby. I like to say that to Sarah. The baby.
Oh, I'm sure she loves that too.
I swear, usually my impression is a little bit better too, but yeah, that kind of snuck up on me.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So for mine, I've got three.
Mhm.
The first one is Ginger Snaps.
No, still haven't seen that.
You would like it. It's very good. It's like a emo 90s, late 90s, I believe, early 2000s maybe even, but maybe like the year 2000.
It might be like, yeah.
So it like feels like 90s still. It was very good though. I wish I had watched it when I was younger. The next one was Chinatown. Have you
Oh,
seen
really?
that?
Okay. Yeah, a long time ago. Very good movie.
It is a very good movie. I had heard it was very good. I don't really know what I was expecting from it, but it was way different than what I expected. And it was very good. Jack Nicholson is great in it. I think it's Faye Dunaway that's in it too.
Right. That
I was a
sounds right.
big fan of that one. It was funny too because I actually had gone to shortly after I saw it. I was on a work trip and somebody was asking me about that, and they were like, "Oh, what are some of your?" It came up that I have this podcast, and so they asked me what some of my favorite movies are, and so I brought up Godfather 2 because that's all time classic right there. And then I mentioned that I had just watched Chinatown for the first time, and the person I was talking to was like, "What did you think of that?" Because they said they were like, "This movie was way too overhyped for me, and I really didn't think it was good." And I was like, "You know what? I really did like it. I think that 70s movies are a thing that you need to be in a specific mood for because they
Oh,
can
sure.
be slow.
Yeah.
You have to overcome those things going into it. But I think that 70s movies in general are just because they're of that time where special effects are just starting to get good.
Mm.
Filmmakers are on top of their game, but they're still in like that. Like we're kind of in a time now where a lot of movies are relying on special effects to tell a big portion of the story. Back then, they only had story and dialogue for a
Right.
lot of those things. And so that movie, in the way of story, dialogue, writing, all those things, really does the heavy lifting. And I was really impressed with that one. The third one, and this is the one that of the three, this is the top one. This is the winner of this, similar to the way you did it, but was Near Dark.
Oh,
Have you
I
seen
haven't.
that one?
No, that's on my list of things to watch. How did you watch that?
Like, I think I just saw it on streaming.
It is streaming. Okay, I've been trying to buy like a Blu-ray or DVD copy of it for years, and it never is like cheap. So
I think it was on like one of the free ones too, like Tubi or something,
that
or
checks out. That
Freevee.
makes sense.
It,
Sorry,
I
I
had
stole your
I had
thunder.
been I had been keeping track of it because I wanted to watch it for a little while here.
Yeah.
So for anybody that doesn't know, this is an '80s movie by Catherine Bigelow. Catherine Bigelow being the director of Zero Dark 30, of Point Break,
Hurt Locker, right?
of The Hurt Locker, yes. And she originally, this is one of her first directorial efforts, and it's a 80s movie about vampires, and it's so interesting the way this story is told. And it's also, what's even more interesting about it, she was married to James Cameron at the time, and he was just wrapping filming on Aliens. So when she was talking about doing the cast for this, he's like, hey, I have these three actors here that I know they work well together, and they're just wrapping up here, so why don't you use them? And those three actors were Bill Paxton, Lance Hendrickson, and the woman, I can't think of her name.
Vasquez,
Jeanette Goldstein, I think. Yeah,
which
Vasquez
yeah,
from Aliens. And
also
also
Titanic
John,
fame.
yeah, and John Connor's mom in T2, or
Yep.
stepmom, foster mom.
Yep.
That's it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So those three, they play three of the vampires, and they're basically like going up and down the southern border, like in a camper, just like abducting people. And it's so much fun. It's so unique, and I really did enjoy it. If I remember correctly, I think that Tangerine Dream might have even done the soundtrack to that. But it was very good, so I highly recommend that one. And Dan, you should definitely watch that. It's very good.
Writing it down
Yeah, keep an eye out
so I don't forget
on
it
those free
again.
ones for it.
Yeah. All right, buddy. What's next on the list?
Top 2024. We're into 2024 now. So, kicking off the top of this list, we have our favorite trailer. So, what was your favorite trailer of 2024, Dan?
Right. So I got a couple things here. I have a soft spot for the Werewolves trailer starring Frank Grillo, just because it kind of gave me like hope that movie would be good, but it came out and kind of went nowhere, and I didn't even see it, but I'm worried about that one.
It
But
made it made so little money.
I know.
Like, because everybody said like it's such a good premise that they
Right.
just completely squander,
All right. And
unfortunately.
that's what I was hopeful for. I'm like, oh, maybe this would be good, and then like the first like reviews came out, I'm like, ah. So I mean, that's the job of a trailer, though, right? To give you hope, kind of. So I just wanted to mention that one because that was a fun little period in my life where I had hope for that movie. But
Hmm.
I would say my favorite trailer of the year was Trapped. M. Night Shyamalan's Trapped, starring Josh Hartnett. And some people like didn't like it because they gave away like too much of the story. I guess like people like, oh, you knew Josh Hartnett was the killer. I'm like, that's point. That's the point. You're supposed to know that.
One of the things with that movie was that they don't try to hide that whatsoever within the
No.
movie itself. So it did. I don't see any point in hiding it during the trailer.
Right. And there's just that one scene in the trailer where like he's talking to the concession salesman guy, and his face goes from like jovial to like serious in like a second. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm in for this
Yeah.
movie now. So yeah, I would say that sold me on the movie, and I think that was the most memorable trailer from this year. I think for me.
Okay. So this for me, all year long, it was the first Omen.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that trailer for the first Omen?
I don't remember it, but I'm
It
sure I did.
was playing clips backwards the whole time to this music. I cannot think of who the song was offhand now. I should have wrote that down, but I'm gonna look it up.
That's fine.
Fever Ray. Yeah, so it features a song from Fever Ray playing over the trailer while all these clips go through and they're playing backwards.
Don't remember that.
And it is such a good trailer. And all these clips playing backwards are done in such a good way, and you see that it's got like, I mean, it's got dual meanings, right? Because
Mhm.
they've got the whole thing with like records from the 70s where the movie takes place, where if you play them backwards they're supposed to have these
Demonic.
demonic
Hmm.
incantations and things like that, you know. So it's got that part of it. It's also got the fact that like they're moving backwards in the franchise, right? They're
Right.
telling a story before all the stories that they've already told. And that trailer had me so hyped for this movie. So all year long, that was my favorite trailer because I think about these things sometimes for the podcast, like oh,
Hmm.
or
It's a
even
fun
just to
idea.
think about. And all year long, that's what it was. And even going into this, I was like, that's what it's going to be. And
I guess.
then
Betcha
28
again.
years later comes along.
Oh, there we go. Okay. I was wondering if you're gonna do movies that haven't come out yet or not.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a trailer. It was
It is a
released
trailer.
in 2024.
Yeah, it is great too.
It is. And so when that trailer dropped, I watched that trailer I think like 3 times in a row. And there's also the recency bias of the whole thing where that trailer just came out like what, 3 or 4 weeks ago.
It's fresh in your head.
It's fresh in my head.
Mm.
But that trailer has me so hyped for that
Oh,
movie.
I know. And it doesn't show anything like at all, which is great.
No, and it's got that recording
Hmm.
from of the Rudyard Kipling
Yep.
poem Boots,
Hmm.
and I listened to that recording. It's from 1915 and it's by Taylor Holmes is doing the speaking in it, and I
Rest in
couldn't
peace.
even listen to the full recording. That recording is one of the most haunting things I've ever listened to.
Okay.
It was like it was like I got partway into it and I was like, all right, I've had enough of this. This makes me uncomfortable. Like,
I remember watching that trailer with Holly, and she's like, "I don't like the background noise. What's going on?" I'm like, "It's creepy. It's supposed to be creepy."
yeah, yeah. It's whoever decided made that choice to put that in the trailer. They need to get a raise.
No, that's yeah.
I've seen some other videos recently using it too. Now that somebody opened the floodgates, I'm
Hmm.
not even sure if 28 years later is the first one to do it, but they're the one I saw, and I thought it was phenomenal. But those were by and large, take the recency bias out of it, and maybe the first Omen still gets it, but 28 years later gets it for the year for me.
I did want to throw in there. I am happy that Wicked finally released, so I don't have to see that trailer anymore. 'Cause I swear I saw that trailer 1,000 times over the course of like 2 years. It felt like it was playing before every movie. So
Didn't you go and see that?
I did with my family. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was what they wanted to watch. So yeah,
Yeah. Is that going to be on any of the top 24 things here?
maybe not. We'll find
Okay.
out.
Well, let's get to the next one.
Okay,
Favorite movie related meme.
favorite movie related meme. I don't remember that one.
That was on the list that I sent you.
My bad. Well, you talk. Let me think.
Okay. So there's a lot of these. They float around all the time. You got all the ones with Cillian Murphy. There's a lot of movie related ones that pop around though. And my favorite one that came out this year is the one from Dune 2. Dune Part 2 with
Yeah.
when somebody will be like just saying something and it'll be the what's his name from that one where he's like Lisa Gabe whenever Paul Atreides does basically anything, and so that was a funny meme that was popping around for a little while, and that was probably my favorite one.
I would just say, thinking real quick, that I remember when, like, as the holidays came around and, like, Alf is being shown a lot. I saw a meme where it had the guy from Alf going, "Why are you smiling like that?" And it cut to the dude from Smile 2
Mm,
standing there. So that'll be my panicking trying to think of something answer because I did enjoy that.
yeah, there you go. All
Saved it,
right, on
saved it.
to an easy one. Favorite film score for the year.
Right. Okay. So favorite film score. I know that the Oscars has its nominations, and I know that apparently, just doing a little bit of research, apparently Challengers, the Zendaya movies, apparently got a really good film score done by Trent Reznor. But I haven't seen that, so I just wanted to throw that out there. I know that's supposed to be good, but I haven't seen it, so I can't, you know, say it. I did enjoy the score for Wild Robot. I thought that was very good,
What
but
is Wild Robot?
Wild Robot? Oh, it's an
Yeah.
animated film. I forgot.
I've generally heard of these things. That's not even a thing that's on my radar.
Oh yeah, it's a movie about a robot that gets
That
washed
gets
up on
wild.
gets wild. It washes up on the shore of this island, and it doesn't have a purpose, so it kind of just adopts a duckling. No, sorry, duckling, gooseling, whatever baby goose is called, doesn't matter. And kind of like learns to be its mother and stuff. And it's a very good movie. But yeah, so the score for that movie is very good. What was that noise?
That was my dog. Aldo, come here. Say hi.
Although,
Come here and say hi.
is he coming?
No, he's not. He got very close, just outside of the camera's view, and then he just stopped and stared at me.
Fair. That's a fair thing. But
I
yeah,
forgot
so
he was even in here until he walked behind me.
all right, so yeah, Wild Robot, very good movie, very good score. But my choice will be Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes,
Yeah? I
which
thought you
yeah,
didn't like that, didn't you?
I like the movie. I see
Did
him
you?
now. Hey, buddy.
You said the other day that you were talking about those movies, and then you're like, "But Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I don't really count that one."
Well, among the first three, the trilogy.
Ah,
I think that's a trilogy, and this is just kind of continuation.
new
You know,
trilogy probably.
yeah, probably more than likely. But yeah, I have John Pearson. It looks like was the composer. Took over for Michael Giacchino, which the gentleman who
Michael
you like.
Giacchino.
Yeah. So I thought his score was very good, and it really helps out with that movie overall. But yep, that would be my answers. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes for best score.
There you go. So I struggled with this one a little bit more than I usually do because there was no, it was easy for me the year like the Batman came out
Yeah.
because I even went out and bought that on vinyl. But this time around, I looked at all the movies I really liked, and like Longlegs had a good score. It was very atmospheric, very ominous. Nosferatu had a good score. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know how it's used in it, but I did listen to the score, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool and gothic. There was a lot of other things that I saw that I was like, okay. There was another one that was called like The Girl and the Sea, I think it's called, and it's what's her name from the new Star Wars trilogy
Oh
plays
yeah,
like
Daisy Ridley. She plays
Daisy
like a swimmer
Ridley.
or something, right?
Yeah, and I had heard
Hmm.
that score was very good, and I actually listened to it a few times through. It was very good. It's all classical music, but it's like inspirational and it's very good, very good. But I decided to go with challengers on this
Okay,
one,
so you have
having
seen
not
it.
seen the movie.
Oh, okay.
But I have listened to the soundtrack many, many, many times over the course of the year because I'm a big fan of Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, and I listen to basically everything that they put out at this point. And I really like that one. I think it's right up there with one of my favorite scores that they done, which is The Social Network, which I think I listened to that soundtrack over the weekend while I was like just doing stuff around the house. I'm a big fan of them, so that takes my favorite score for the year.
All right, that's good. I had it as an honorable mention, so yeah, I got to see that movie, and I should just listen to the score. I should do what you do and just put something like that on in the background instead of listening to the same, you know, 200 songs on Spotify.
It can sometimes be difficult to do that because you can lose interest
Hmm.
because a lot of times these are made for a movie, so they're made to match a scene. But I think that just being a fan of Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, I like it's not like I so like when I listened to The Girl in the Sea, I think that's what it's called. If I'm getting that wrong, I apologize.
I think that's
But when
right.
I listened to that, I was solely listening to it to be like, okay, a lot of people are saying this is a phenomenal score. Let's check this out. But this album, Challengers, I had listened to this anyways. I had been listening to it a bunch of times. I haven't seen the movie. I have no excuse why I haven't seen it. I just haven't. But
Mhm. All
it's
right,
on the
very
list.
cool.
Yeah. Okay, so up next, favorite action movie.
All right, favorite action movie. We both lean towards horror, but we do love action as well. And this year had a few things that popped up into my head. I went and saw Fall Guy. That movie didn't do very well. I enjoyed quite a bit, to be honest with you. Have you seen that yet?
I just watched that 2 nights ago, and we both really liked it. And
Yeah.
actually, I told Sarah what it was about, and she was like, "I'm not really interested in that at all." And I was like, well, let's watch the trailer. And she's like, I still don't know if I'm interested in that. And then I told her about all the things with it, with like the all the stunts that they did with it and everything. And she's like, okay, now that you said that, like I'll watch it. And she actually really ended up enjoying it. And
Yeah.
I think the marketing team just did that movie no justice.
Oh, I completely agree. It was a very good movie, and wanted to mention that. Favorite action movie of the year, I went with Furiosa Mad Max Saga. I think that carrying on from obviously Fury Road being one of the best movies overall of the last 25 years, it's a tall task, and again, I think the marketing department for Furiosa didn't do a great job with that movie either. but
No, they didn't.
but yeah, Chris Hemsworth's great in it, and it was definitely my favorite action movie of the year, I would say.
There you go. I'm glad to hear that. That is one that was actually, I thought long and hard about that. I thought about that. I thought about Fall Guy, but I was like, it's good. I will say, Fall Guy, they should have, their marketing team should have been using all those clips they had in the credits of them doing all these practical effects, of them doing the stunts. All those clips they played while the credits are rolling, they should have been sharing those on social media nonstop
Yeah,
leading into the release of this.
that would have been smart.
Would have been smart.
Couldn't have
That's
hurt.
what I would have done.
It could not have
No,
hurt.
like why not?
No,
They didn't. None of them spoil anything. And then
no.
when you see those things in the actual movie itself, like so, I'll say there was a little bit of overuse of CGI. Like when you see in the credits that somebody actually was standing in the back of that like dump truck or whatever and doing these trucks, but when you see the scene, it looks fake.
It does. Yeah.
So it's like, why are you like you're applying so much CGI to these scenes that like you make it look like somebody's not actually doing them, and so that's a problem.
Such a Hollywood trapping that they can't seem to get away from. Seems like
Right? It's like
there's always some studio guy like, hey, let's just go in there and make sure we make this look fake somehow.
right, exactly. So it was a bit overproduced, I think, and all that stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, adds up. Cost wise. So that's why I think it probably didn't do that well either, because it didn't need to cost as much as it did. But
No,
anyways, I digress. My favorite action movie of the year was Dune Part 2.
okay, can't argue with that.
One could call that not an action movie, but I think it's got a ton of action in it, and that's what is required.
For some reason, it didn't cross my head for this category, but it definitely should have. I think.
I think that there's a lot of really good action scenes in it. I think that fight scene at the end
Mm-hmm.
with Austin Butler and Timothy Chalamet, I think that scene is very good. I think the riding of the worm scene is good. There's a ton of great scenes in that, and there's a ton of great scenes in the first one too. So that was it for me. I think that two other ones that I kind of wanted to mention while we're on the topic of action was The Land of Bad. Did you see that one?
I saw the trailers for it. I haven't seen it yet.
It's actually pretty good. I watched that on a train or on a plane when I was traveling, and I was like, oh man, I really enjoyed that. Another one was Rebel Ridge on Netflix.
Is it a Star Wars one?
No, it is this guy who's the dude from Miami Vice, Don Johnson.
Yes.
So Don Johnson runs a corrupt police department, and the guy that's going to be playing Green Lantern, I can't remember his name, but he comes into town, and basically the police steal like $10,000 from him as he's on his way to pay his brother's bail, and then the dude goes all John Wick on him.
Love it. Okay, I hadn't heard of this one.
Police station. It's very good. It's on Netflix. If you have Netflix, I would watch that. It was easily one of the best action movies of the year, and it was easily one of the best streaming releases of the year. But I think Dune Part 2, when I was looking at this, was like, okay, this is like, it's a technical feat, It's an impressive movie to watch.
It really is. It completely is.
That's
100%.
What got it for me.
It feels like it's so long ago too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When did that come out? That was early 2024, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I mean, I was still living in New York at that time, so
yeah.
It's over 4 months ago, at least.
At least.
I think it was. I don't know. That seems like a summer blockbuster. It's probably August, right?
Probably. I don't know.
Maybe earlier. Who knows?
I'm gonna guess May.
Sometime between May and August.
I'm gonna guess May.
Okay.
Tell us in the comments.
Okay. All right. Next topic. Favorite horror movie of the year. What was your favorite horror movie, Dan?
My favorite horror movie of the year. Want to get a couple of shout outs real quick. Abigail.
I already know what you're going to say.
Do you? Oh yeah, you do.
I
I
know what
actually
your
didn't.
favorite movie is. Come on.
Do you?
I
All right.
do.
I don't know if you know. I don't know if you know. So yeah, Abigail. I love the cast of Abigail. I think that movie deserved better than its box office results. Oddity. I just told you
Abigail
I
was
watched.
very good.
Yeah.
It's got Dan Stevens doing his thing in there. Like, I'll pretty much watch Dan Stevens do anything at this point.
Right. Yeah. Melissa Barrera. The Allison. Allison. Oh, I'm killing her name. I'm sorry. The young girl who plays Abigail is great, and yeah, I thought the movie was great,
Yep.
fantastic, I should say. Oddity, I watched recently, and that movie immediately shot to like way up on my list. I enjoyed that completely, but
Oddity
my favorite,
was awesome.
yeah, but my favorite horror movie of the year is Late Night with the Devil. Probably exactly what you were
Oh,
expecting.
you throwing a
No,
curveball in
throwing
there.
a curveball in there. Oh, I know what you thought I was gonna say.
I thought you'd say Smile too.
I do love that movie too, but yeah, no, Late Night with the Devil.
You like Late Night with Devil more than Smile too?
Yeah, I went back to it. I went back to it a couple times in the recent months and watched it. It's one of those movies already that I can just turn on and just watch. It's,
Yeah.
so I think that
Ready
made
made for Dan Carter.
exactly. So I almost didn't put it on because technically it came out in 2023, but its wide release was 2024, so I think it counts.
It does.
But yeah, that's my favorite horror movie this year was Late Night with the Devil.
Okay. Okay. Good deal. So, my favorite horror movie of the year was The First Omen.
Okay, I like that movie
It
too.
I was so hyped up for this movie and it hit all the milestones I wanted to hit because I love the original Omen movie and it pays tribute to that or pays homage to that, not pays tribute, but um
Must pay tribute.
yeah. I, I offer myself as tribute. Um, So it pays homage to the original. It's just everything it does so well. It's got those scenes that it plays like a 70s movie. The acting is great. Everything is great about it. I will say it almost didn't make this for me because I finally watched Immaculate a few weeks ago. And have you seen Immaculate?
Yeah, I have. Yes, and I know the
It's
exact
the
problem you're gonna
same
bring up.
movie. And
Same movie.
I watched it, and as I'm watching it, I was like, before I started watching Immaculate, I was like, okay, people keep saying that this is very similar to the first Omen, and I'm not gonna let that distract me.
It
So
distracts
I
you.
went in trying not to get distracted by that fact. It is the most distracting thing possible. It is impossible. It is impossible not to be
Yeah,
distracted by that fact. It is, except for the ending, the exact same movie.
yeah,
I should do a video on how similar these two movies are because,
like a cut comparison or something.
yeah. But by and large, First Omen's just better.
I completely
It's
agree.
better on almost every avenue. And it's more artful the way they do everything too. It's crazy too that they both have scenes where you get to watch the process of them becoming nuns. And I was watching it too. I was like, watch this be the exact same thing. And for whatever reason, they like I have no idea how you become a nun, but somehow they both did it a different way.
Maybe that's how you do
Yeah, right. It's
it.
like, yeah, it's different strokes for different folks. If you watch both of those scenes, like there's the first Omen just does it so much more like artfully, The ending is good. The birth scene in the first Omen is
Oh yeah,
it's so good. I remember, so I don't know if you recall this, but when I went to see Adam, we went and saw that in Philly, and the amniotic sac like popping in the final scene. I like jumped at that, and it's not a jump scare, but I
no,
jumped at that because I don't know why, but I thought like. You have all those cutscenes of spiders through the whole movie. I thought like it was literally gonna be like it was gonna pop, and then
with
spiders were gonna
spiders.
like
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought that, but like when it was happening, I was like, I feel like this is about to happen, but it didn't. And so, yeah, that's my favorite one. I decided not to let Immaculate ruin it for me, and
Hmm.
it stayed. It stayed. It persevered. So that's it.
Yeah, and that's the worst part is like even like thinking about things for this list that we were going over. I was thinking about scenes from First Omen, and then I'd be like, wait, what movie was that in? Trying to remember if there was a Sydney Sweeney running around or not.
Right. Yeah. There's so many things, but yeah. Okay. Next topic. What is your favorite jump scare of the year?
Right? Hang on, I just had that on a different page because we added that. Yes. So, how spoiler do you want to get? Like, not too, I
Not
assume?
too spoilery. I'd imagine we don't want to spoil these things for people.
Okay. So, I have an honorable mention, first off, from my favorite horror movie of the year. It's I'll try to paint a vague picture, but it's towards the end where in part of the broadcast they're rewatching another part of the broadcast, and you've seen Late Night with the Devil, right?
Twice.
Okay. And there's a scene where they're rewatching part of the broadcast, and something happens on the main character's shoulder, and I wanted to give that a shout out. Try to be as vague as possible about it, but give it its props for being, jump scared kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But I will have to say that again, this might be recency bias because I just watched the movie recently. But Oddity, the first real jump scare in Oddity, that got me so good. And
That is
it's yeah,
mine.
is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not recency bias. I watched this movie months and months ago, and it's still stuck with me. I
Oh, it's
remember
so
when I
good.
watched it, Sarah heard me from the other room. I was like, ah!
All right, good. So, all right.
And I called this out in a jump scare post on Threads
Hmm.
over the weekend where I was talking about some of the best jump scares in movies because somebody was talking about how jump scares are just lazy and that old chestnut of nonsense, and I was basically calling out like there's certain jump scares that like go down in history as like
Hmm.
the best jump scares out there. You've got Insidious with the red
Oh,
faced demon,
The
that's up
Conjuring,
there. The Conjuring with which
the
one in The
clap,
Conjuring? The
the clap.
clapping, yeah, that's
Yeah.
a solid one. In Exorcist 3, there's a scene where
Oh, I know.
you know the one I'm talking about?
Hmm.
Yeah,
The
that
Nun.
is up there. Yeah, exactly, the nun. And then in It Follows, when the dude like comes through the doorway behind the other person,
Oh
that's another
yeah.
one that's up there.
Jaws,
But I
the Ben Gardner's boat in Jaws.
the what?
The Ben Gardner's boat in Jaws, where Hooper goes to investigate the hull of the
Oh
ship.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And the
Yeah,
body pops out.
yeah,
Yep.
that's a
And
jump
so
scare.
I think it is a jump scare. I just watched that movie and it is. I think the scene in Oddity is going to go up there as one of those top jump scares.
All
I
right,
really
awesome.
do.
I'm so glad I watched that movie. I really am.
I told you to watch it. I can't believe you waited this long. I don't lie about these things.
I know, dude. It's me. I don't know. I mean to do something and then I get distracted. I don't know if it's my ADHD or what it is, but
All right. So next topic, favorite special effects.
yes, sir. All right. Favorite special effects. I want to give a shout out to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes again. Um, just the work they do on these movies is crazy. Like with the mocap and making the apes seem humanoid, and like of course they are humanoid. You know what I mean.
I do.
So, but my pick would be your favorite action movie of the year, Dune Part Two.
Mm,
I thought the special effects in that were great. I thought the whole Arcadian home world where it was black and white, I thought that was
yeah,
done fantastically. Yeah, it's a great movie, and the special effects really add to it. So yeah, that's my pick is Dune Part Two.
that is a phenomenal pick, and I give props to you for it. My favorite of the year is for The Substance.
Okay, all right.
I mean, they're pretty much constant throughout that thing. I believe all. Well, no, not all. The final shot is CGI, but up until that point, it's just body horror, you know. And I'm a big fan of body horror. It reminded me a lot of like The Fly, you know,
Mhm.
and that's got some great special effects in it. So, yeah, The Substance.
Oh yeah,
If you haven't
that
seen
movie.
that,
Yeah,
anybody, go check it out.
especially if you like practical effects and if you're a fan of body horror, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I didn't even think of it for this, but that is a good choice.
Thank you. All right, your favorite performance.
Now this one, you probably could guess, but I want to give a couple shout outs. I want to say, obviously, I have it written down here. Alisha Weir from Abigail, the young ballerina vampire. I thought she was great in that. She really carries the movie for being such a young actress, like doing like the cute little girl and then also this vicious predator.
Hmm.
Neil Tiger Free from the first Omen. Thought she was fantastic. She carries that movie, as you said.
Yeah, that
Uh,
was up there for me. I thought about her. She is so good in that.
yeah. Hugh Grant in Heretic. I really enjoyed him in that movie as well. I think that movie, like I watched the movie like after we had done that episode on it. I went out and watched it, and I was like, oh, that was fun. But the more I think about it, the more I like that movie. It kind of one has grown on me.
Yeah.
But for my choice, my pick, I'm gonna go with from Smile 2, Naomi Scott. I think she does such a good job portraying this broken woman who the demon lashes onto, and she just does such a good job of showing like how she has no chance against this thing. Her character is so just defeated already before this thing latches onto her, and it just her emotions and her eyes and just everything she does in it is so good. And I told you, like I was scared when they announced her as the main actress in that movie that she wasn't gonna be able to do it, but she absolutely pulled it off, and it was my favorite performance of the year.
That's great. So I will say that she almost got it for me too.
Okay.
Very close. And for a little while, I actually had her written down. And then I recalled one that I was very impressed with for other reasons. So, that's a great choice. I went with Micah Monroe and Longlegs.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Have you seen that yet?
I haven't seen Longlegs yet, and I know
Oh,
that's
man.
there's so many good horror movies this year, dude.
They really were. They really were. So for her, I don't know if you've seen other things that she's been in, but she's been in a lot of other
It
things. She
follows.
was in It Follows, yeah. She was in this other movie called Watcher that I believe was straight to Shudder.
Hmm.
Maybe not, but it gave me that vibe when I watched it. But her performance in this it's impressive on the other side of the coin, where it's subtle, but it's all in how she reacts to these situations in very, very subtle ways. She seems like something's off about her for the whole movie.
Hmm.
She seems like she's haunted, that you could just tell that there's something about her that's going on. And the way she like just subtly leads the audience through the whole movie, it really was impressive. And just like you said, I think that if horror movies got more love at these things, I think that her and Naomi Scott would get nominated for Best Performance at the Oscars, because I think that those two really are up there for
Right.
Best Performances of the year.
I'll have to check
And
it out.
then, you've got the usuals of Demi Moore and
Right.
Hugh Grant that are great performances, but
Uh,
those are
Margaret.
by established actors that you expect those
Yeah.
performances out of.
Margaret Qualley in the Substance too. She's great in that.
Yeah,
So, and not that just there's other performances outside of horror, but you might as well give the love it deserves, right?
that's right. That's right. Plus, I mean, I watch more horror movies than anything else this year, so a lot of these are skewed that way.
It was a good year for it.
It was. Yeah, I guess I can give a shout out to Honora. I have not seen Honora, but I was
Mikey
surprised to
Madison.
get that it got shut out at the Golden Globes last night, because yeah, Mikey Madison. Everybody's been talking about her performance in this. I just watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood the other day for a second or third time. She's in that. She's
Hmm.
very good in that. She's very good in the Scream movie that she was in. So I'm interested in seeing her in this. I think, everybody's saying this is like a breakout performance for her in the way of like getting an Oscar. So they're saying it's above those other two performances. So, you know,
Yeah.
got to see that one. It's up there.
Yep. I definitely have been meaning to see it. Just hasn't gotten the chance to yet.
Yeah. All right.
What's next, buddy?
Favorite writing.
Favorite
Your
writing.
favorites.
Favorite writing. So this was kind of not really a cop out, but I mentioned the movie a bunch of times already. I wanted to give it kind of a nod for a category. And this sounds like a cop out, but it deserves it, I think, too. Abigail is going to get my best rating.
Okay.
Suggestion. Just I love the comedy that they put in it, the seriousness they put in it, the whole scene where they get there, and Melissa Barrera's character like kind of like breaks down each person just by how she
Yeah.
notices them. I thought that scene was great, and yeah. So not going too far into it, Abigail, I wrote down. It's the Radio Silence guys, obviously, who were involved in it. So all their movies are so quick-witted and good, and that
Yeah.
that would be my choice.
Nice. I went with Exuma.
What is that?
So that is I believe, Korean movie, and I don't think it got a release in the United States. I think it just got a release there, and then it is on, I think it's a Shudder exclusive now, and it is very good.
Okay.
I will say I had to watch it twice to understand what was going on, and not for any good reason. I mean, I had a couple beers the first time I watched it,
Nice.
and I don't think I was expecting, like, I was expecting to have to read subtitles during it, but I don't think I was expecting the amount of world building that they were doing while they're doing that. So they introduce a lot of characters right off the bat, and while they're introducing them, they're telling sort of multiple stories, and you're not sure which one you're supposed to be keeping track of. And they're world building, and they're laying out a ton of like ground rules for lore that they're going to explore over the course of the movie. And so there's so many things going on, and you're not sure which ones you're supposed to be focusing on. And so I didn't finish it the first time I watched it, and then I was like, I got to go back to this thing. And so I went back and I watched it, and the second time around, I was like, I don't know what the hell was wrong with me last time. And I guarantee it's because I had a couple of beers while I was doing it and like just wasn't focused enough.
That happens.
But it does. And so the second time around, I was like, okay, this is phenomenal. And so it's about a group of people who are basically working to try to break like a curse
Nice.
that's on this family. And the unique part about it is that they establish all these ground rules for like their own world. It looks like a normal world like you and me, but there's rules there that are different. So like one of them is that when you die, you have to be buried in ground that is like good ground. So there's people whose job it is to find ground that is good to be buried in. And sometimes people are buried in ground that is not good to be buried in. And that can cause hauntings or curses or things like that to happen.
I like that.
And yeah, so there's practical effects in it. There's a ton of world building. There's hauntings. There's curses. And it's all done in an extremely creative way.
Okay.
So I highly recommend that. And that's why it got the writing for me, because it's just so unique, the ideas that went into this. And it reminded me of like when you're reading a book and they're building all this whole world through a book. You know, they've got the pages and to be able to do that, to be able to build all of this. And I don't know, I just feel like you don't see that much in horror.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I like that idea of establishing rules. You know, Talk to Me had that.
There's certain rules.
Yeah, you know, I think it's cool when you know, I have to imagine the writers when they were doing this established like a Bible for this world of like, this is how it all works, and whatever we do just has to fit in this framework. And it was really unique, and it had some twists and turns, and I really like it. So I highly recommend that one.
All right, I have to check that out. I mean, I do like foreign language horror movies to start with, so the fact that I haven't heard of that one kind of surprises me, but sounds like something I'd enjoy, so I'll have to catch it.
Yeah, Exuma. So
Exuma.
Exhuma. I mean, I assume that's just another word for exhume, like you're exhuming a grave.
Yeah, I spelled that right, so.
There you go. Look at you. A man can spell.
Can spell.
Okay, next up, we got favorite directing.
Yes. So favorite directing, I want to give a shout out to Denis Villeneuve for Dune Part 2. Like I said, that world he's built, as you said, kind of world building is important, and he just keeps all those characters in line. It has all the special effects that just hit continuously, and he'd probably get Oscar nominated, I gotta assume, for that. I think he's like the big rumor right now, if I can remember. But for my choice, I'm gonna go with you might have to help me out with this name. The director of The Substance. Is it Coraline? Do you have it by chance?
I don't have it.
Okay. Well, I apologize. I don't know how to pronounce that name. I wrote it down, but Coraline Forgot?
Coralie Farge.
Yeah. So, yeah, I wanted to give that shout out just because that movie is a real mind screw. It is the most out there thing I've seen in a while. We watched it together, and just the way she puts it all together, and the way she like kind of like handles those two characters.
Yep.
It's very memorable. And I wanted to give a shout out to that movie, and I thought this would be the best way to do it. So yeah, The Substance would be my pick for best directing, and I apologize for murdering your name, but
She's French.
I mean that's
You'd be
not my
forgiven.
that's
So I agree that she does phenomenal in that. She's not my pick, but she is definitely one I considered. And that's a big part of it, is that the story is so unique. The visuals in it are so unique.
Nope, I lost you for a
You
second.
know, it's all got its own identity. You know, she establishes an identity for this movie and does it in an extremely effective way. So that was definitely up there for me. So my pick for favorite directing was Longlegs.
Okay.
And, you know, I almost think that this is just because I gave it to this just because I didn't think I was giving this movie enough love. But I really do like the directing in it. It is, I think it's just the general atmosphere that he establishes. So if you don't know, this is directed by Osgood Perkins, who is
Oh,
Anthony Perkins' son.
that's right.
Anthony Perkins being the dude from
Psycho.
Psycho. Yes. Look at you. And so he obviously has a familial history in horror, and it is very well done. And the way he unfolds the story, a lot of people don't like where it goes. I like where it goes. I liked everything about the movie. I was a big fan of it. And, you know, there's things I could complain about with it, but I don't think any of it would come down to his directing, which I think is phenomenal. And I really am interested in seeing where he goes. I've seen the trailers for his new movie, The Monkey,
Oh
and that
yeah.
looks very good.
Stephen King short story, right?
Stephen King, yeah, it's based on a Stephen King story. It is produced by James Wan, directed by Osgood Perkins. We're off to a good start here. Real interested in that. But I was a big fan of this movie, and it really stuck with me for like days and days afterwards. So
I gotta catch it. It's on Shutter, right? Or that's not something I saw it recently as an option, but it was holiday time and
I don't know. I don't know.
yeah.
I saw it at the movies. I saw it at the Little in Rochester.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a really cool experience there too, because it's the Little, so it's, for anybody that doesn't know, it's a small theater that it's known for doing independent features. And the owner of the movie came out and talked to everybody before it played, and it was just a really cool atmosphere there. So I recommend anybody go see that.
Yeah, it's a cool place. For sure.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, favorite series.
Favorite series. So I literally have 3 things written down here that I crossed out in order to get to my my final choice. But I want to give a special shout out to Legend of Vox Machina, Amazon Prime show. That have you ever watched it?
I have not. I still have not.
Yeah, it's good. It's a Amazon Prime show. It's based on a bunch of voice actors did a D&D campaign and then kind of like recorded it, and then people liked it and they made an animated show out of it. It's very very good, very well done. I want to give a shout out to Fallout. I watched that, another Amazon Prime series. Enjoyed the.
Fallout is very good.
It's very good.
I have yet to finish it. I think I only have like an episode or 2 left, but I'm pretty far into it. I don't know why I haven't finished it. That's probably why it didn't make my list of my favorite, because I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah, it's very good. It's Ella Purnell. She carries the whole thing. Well, not just her, because Walton Goggins is in there too, and he's great.
Walton Goggins, yeah, you got to give him
Goggins
some
some credit. But yeah, she's great in that, and she came a long way from being in that Army of the Dead movie where I hated her. But my choice for best series would be, and probably not a surprise to anyone here knows me, X-Men '97 is my choice for best movie, best series of the year, because that was my favorite like show for the longest time. And when I heard they were rebooting it, I just thought, oh, cheap nostalgia grab. But then I watched it.
It's very good.
So good.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Animated show that I liked.
That's very surprising.
Margaret.
Check. And so yeah, I mean it's fantastic. And anyone who's a fan of like obviously the '90s show, I don't know why you haven't watched it yet if you haven't. But even people, well maybe I don't know if people can just come in cold turkey to that show and just be like, man, I'm sure they could.
You 100% can.
You can? Yeah.
You don't need to see the old one.
Yeah. Well, if that's keeping you from seeing it, just go see it or just watch it. I mean to say, 'cause it's really good and it deserves your time. So
it tells its own story.
It does, absolutely. And that's my pick for best series of the year. I want to give a little shout out to Invincible. the most recent season of that too, but they cut it in half across 2 years. I mean to say, so I don't know if that counts even, but I like that show
You
too.
know what I was reading the other day, that generally when you're working on a show, the cast and crew gets raises in between
Hmm.
seasons. So basically, whenever you see a network or a production company calling a season 5A and 5B or whatever, like Yellowstone just
Sure.
did, like your example right there, and like Breaking Bad did, for example. Generally, whenever they do that, it's so the company can cut costs and avoid paying people more money.
Well, that's shady.
It is, and I was like, you know what, that sounds about right. So,
Yep. What you got?
anyways, sorry
No,
to go off on a tangent
you
there.
like to do so, and I like it. What's your choice?
My choice is Shogun.
Haven't seen it. It's high on my list.
Shogun is awesome. It is Hiroyuki
Love
Sanada,
him. He's great.
and I can't remember the woman's name that's in it, but she was just in that Godzilla show, Monarch,
I haven't seen that either.
Legacy of Monsters or whatever. It's on, I
Apple.
believe, Apple
Yep.
TV Plus, and that was very good too, actually. Kurt Russell, like you got to see that.
I
It's
know.
better than most of those movies. But she was it. I mean, big year for her. This show is phenomenal. It's feudal Japan. You get samurai. You get a couple cool battles. So a lot of people were saying that like it kind of that it's similar to Game of Thrones. I don't think it's very similar to Game of Thrones at all. It's also a true
Mhm.
story, but I can see where it does scratch the same itch that Game of Thrones did, where you got bows and arrows and swords and things like that. But I think it's
Who doesn't
more,
like that?
it's told in a more, I don't know, just better way. I
Yeah.
think it's just told in a very respectful way. I think would be the thing. There's a couple scenes that are a little overly violent, and those come early, and then the rest of the series isn't that
They're trying to
violent.
hook you.
And I that's what I think. I think that they were trying to do
Mhm.
that. It's phenomenal. It's a great show. It swept the Emmys. It swept the Golden Globes. So
Hulu, right?
apparently people agree with me. Yes, it is Hulu.
I've been meaning to watch it. Just haven't got to it.
Yeah. What else am I watching? I watched Masters of the Air. That's very good. It is Austin Butler and a bunch of other people in World War
Oh,
II.
cool.
They're bomber pilots.
I've not heard about
It's
this.
the same, I believe, same production team as they at least called out in the advertising that it was some of the same people involved with Band of Brothers.
Okay, that checks out.
Yeah, and it does seem very much like Band of Brothers. It's not as good as Band of Brothers, so don't expect it
What
to be
is?
going in, but it is right. But it is very good.
Okay, I'll watch it.
So I highly recommend that. I mean, you and me, we love World War
We
II
do.
stuff,
It's a it's a thing.
So yeah, it's really good. I watched the first two episodes when they aired, and I was like,
Aired.
I don't know. Do I really want to see 9 episodes of this? And so I planned on getting back to it, and then my trial of Apple TV went up, and then I bought a MacBook Pro, and they gave me 3 more months, so
Hey,
I started it back up, and I ended up the third episode turned out to be the one that hooked me, so I piled through that in like a week. I've also been watching Shrinking on Apple TV
I've heard
Plus.
that's good.
That's yeah, Jason Segel, Harrison Ford, Jessica Williams. Very good show. Very, very good. Almost made me cry over the weekend, so there was that. And I'm also watching Silo. So I haven't finished either one of those, but maybe if I had Silo would have been up there. Silo's been great.
That's like the remind me on that one. That one's familiar too. I just haven't watched it.
It is basically Fallout, except they stay in the bunker the whole
That's
time.
right. Yep. That's what I thought it
I
was.
told Sarah, yeah, Sarah was asking me about it, and I told her that. She's like, "We watched that." I was like,
No,
no, we didn't." She's like, "Yeah," she's like, "Remember they get out of the bunker and she's looking for her father," and I was like, "No, that's Fallout."
and she's like, "Oh,
They even have like a Founders Day that they mentioned in a recent
did they
episode,
really?"
and I was like, "Wait a second, wasn't Founders Day
It
in
certainly
Fallout?"
was.
Like,
Yeah, that's funny.
yeah, but otherwise, it's very good, and the main actress there is good too. What's her name? She was in the Mission Impossible movies and a bunch of
Michelle
stuff.
Moynihan? No, okay.
No,
Haley Atwell.
no, the other one. She had an eye patch in the latest one.
Nice.
Rebecca
Oh my
Ferguson.
gosh. Yes. Okay. Yep. How did I not remember Rebecca Ferguson? That's my bad.
And she was in, what's that Stephen King one she was in?
Rebecca Ferguson? Dr. Sleep.
Yeah. Dr. Sleep. That's it. Very good. Okay, so favorite straight to streaming release.
I want to give a shout out to Hitman, which could have probably been an idea for action, but it's not that much actiony. Like it's kind of just a story about a guy who's a cop who have you seen it? Do you know of it?
Hitman.
Yeah, it's Glenn
Oh, the
Powell.
one with the dude from
Yeah.
No, I'm aware of what it is. I thought you were talking about like I was like, oh, they did another
Oh,
adaptation of the
you're thinking of
Hitman
like
video game.
the Timothy Oliphant terrible movie. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a guy who's like a forensics guy for the I think it's New Orleans police station, and then he ends up having to be like
Hmm.
a fake hitman for them to get some people arrested. And it was a big surprise to me. Like I kind of just watched it because Holly suggested it, and it was very good. And I think it's worth your time. It's a little bit of a change from the norm. However, my
Yeah.
choice is completely on par with our norm, and that's Woman of the Year. Sorry, Woman of the Hour. I apologize. Woman of the Hour. Do you know of this?
You know, this was up there for
Okay.
me, and I just watched that like I don't know, a week or two ago, and that was very
Yeah.
good. You know that the girl that stars in it, she directed it
Anna
too.
Kendrick. Yeah.
Yeah, it was her directorial
Yeah. I
debut.
think she did great, and it was one. Remember way back when I brought up Late Night with the Devil, and Tom told me how he thought there was a story about a girl who ran across a serial killer while on a dating show. I'm like, oh, that's okay, that's cool. And then like literally like a couple like weeks later, this I found out about this movie. I'm like, well, that must be what he was talking about. So I kind of just watched it on a whim, and it's stuck with me the rest of the year. And yeah, that would be my choice for best straight to streaming movie would be Woman of the Hour.
Man, like the last like 15 minutes of that movie are so
Hmm.
tense. Basically, when they leave the
Yeah,
studio.
and he follows her back to the parking lot and everything. Yeah, so good.
Yeah, I did really enjoy that one. So I went with, you know, and I think I might have been kind of cheating on this one, but I went with Oddity. It technically got a release, but
Never seen a trailer for it.
we saw a trailer for it before In a Violent Nature. That's where we saw our first trailer
Oh
for it.
yeah.
But I think it was like a super limited release. So I don't think it was available anywhere for me to see. And so, I'll call it straight to streaming, even though it's not really one with Oddity.
I think it's your show. You can do what you want.
Do what I want.
That's so good.
If anybody's like, if the gods of podcastdom come down and smite me for it and say I need to pick something new, then I might try and sneak Late Night with the Devil in there.
Hmm.
And if they don't let me have that one for a multitude of reasons, like the 2023 thing or the fact that got a super limited
I
release,
saw it in the
then
theater.
maybe I'll just go with Rebel Rage.
I saw it in the theater. Just saying.
You saw it in
I
the
did,
theater?
yeah.
That was available at Cinemark,
It was. I
wasn't
tried to
it?
get you to come out, but you had something going on that night.
Yeah, yeah. But then it was
Yeah, it
gone.
was
It wasn't there for
like 2
long.
or
It
3
was there
weeks
for like a
maybe. Yeah.
weekend or two. Okay, and now favorite theatrical
Did you
release
do best
of the
limited
year.
series? I thought we did best limited series.
Did I put that down? I didn't put that down for
Oh,
myself.
well, I think that it's a pretty clear choice, and I think you're probably going to agree with me. Limited series means it's just going to be like a one and done type thing, right?
One and done.
So
Yeah,
that would be the Penguin, or Penguin, I mean to say.
yeah, yeah. That'd probably be up there.
Yeah,
Were there any other options?
I'm sure there were, but I just wrote that down. And that's all I wrote down because I thoroughly enjoyed that.
It wouldn't be True Detective Night Country. I know that much. That was up there on the list. Let me see what else was on their list of best limited series. Baby Reindeer won it. I didn't even see
I
that.
don't even know what that is.
It's a Netflix show.
Baby Reindeer.
Baby Reindeer, Disclaimer, Monsters, The Lyle, and Eric Menendez story, The Penguin, Ripley, True Detective Night Country. I've only seen 2 of those.
You saw True Detective.
The Penguin and True Detective Night Country, and The Penguin is much better.
Agreed. So Colin Farrell's fantastic in it. I don't think he needs to say any more than that.
Yeah. Man, I started to tear up during that finale too.
Oh.
I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but it got me little baby cry.
Yeah, it did.
Just a little one.
Just because you're like, no. Oh,
Yeah. I remember I was like this too. I was like,
yeah, completely.
like it's a shocking ending.
Yeah. My mouth was definitely like,
Yeah. I'm surprised that that took all those awards
yeah.
too. So for anybody that doesn't know, the Penguin won a bunch of Golden Globes last night, including Colin Farrell.
Did Christine Milioti win or whatever?
I don't know.
She'd be supporting,
Don't know.
I would think.
Why don't you tell me your favorite theatrical release? Tell everybody your favorite, and I'll look that up to see if
All right. So
you did.
when I was trying to think of my favorite theatrical release of the year, I was trying to think of a movie that I will be coming back to multiple times. Like, you know what I mean? And to me, that's what would qualify as like the movie from this year I'm going to watch the most or might have the most impact in me. And surprisingly, as I was going through the list and trying to think of things and kind of going over it with Holly, and because we see a lot of movies together, and a real surprise to me is that my favorite movie of the year was Wild Robot, which you haven't even seen yet, or you didn't even know about. But I love the
Nope.
animation, I love the story. Lupita Nyong'o, Pedro Pascal are voices in it, and they do a great job. And it just conveys like community and found family, and yeah, it's fantastic. And I don't have an issue with putting it as my favorite movie of the year or favorite wide release of the year. I mean to say,
Yeah, so first off, Kristen Milioti. When I Google her name, the first thing that comes up is a Forbes article. The Penguin star, Kristen Milioti, was robbed at the Golden
oh, there you
Globes.
go.
So I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say she did not win.
That's too bad.
Which is
She was
unfortunate
great.
because I do think, carried that entire
Mhm.
show. Colin Farrell, I mean, he's the guy. It's his show. But I read articles week after week about how she was stealing his
Yeah.
scenes. So the fact that he got it and she didn't is unfortunate, but it's probably due to there not being as much competition for the male performances as there was for female.
Right. Because I think the girl from Shogun won, the one you were talking about.
She is phenomenal in it, so it wouldn't surprise me.
All right. You ready to give me your favorite movie of the year?
Yeah, I put down two,
Okay.
and I guess I gotta choose one of these.
I did cross out Late Night with the
Um,
Devil to put Wild Robot.
This one was really hard for me because, like, I look at it and I'm running into the same things I ran into for a lot of these things where, like, when I think about these movies, I have to think about multiple things, and just like you said, which one of these am I going to rewatch time and time again? Which one of these do I think that I am going to, like, do I have complaints about it, or is it just a flawless experience for me, and for so many of these I still had complaints, and so I put down the first Omen and Smile
Mm,
2, and I had to choose between these, and I think if I have to choose, I choose the first Omen.
fair.
But it really is that, because when I think of all the other things, I do have complaints,
Yeah.
if I think about, like, so I mean, I think if it's not one of these, it's Dune 2.
Mhm.
Dune 2 is, I don't have many complaints, but I do have some complaints about Dune 2. You and I obviously had a lot of complaints about
Mhm.
Furiosa. Still think it's a
Yeah.
phenomenal
It's a.
movie, but
I'm gonna watch it a few more times for sure.
yeah, I definitely will too. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's good, and like I didn't want it. It kind of sucks that it's the same. The same. It doesn't suck, but like it's. I was trying to go in a different direction because I have the first Omen for the favorite
Mhm.
horror movie of the year and the favorite theatrical release of the year. But like when it comes down to it, you know,
Yeah.
it was probably one of my favorite movies of the year. So
Yeah. And Smile 2 is really good too. Completely deserves to be in the conversation, I think.
yeah. And I mean, you didn't have a lot of those big directors that released big movies of the year too. I did think about
Mhm.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
I thought a lot about that one. I don't really have any complaints with that, but I don't know.
I think it's.
I could.
I think it's the first time you watch that movie, the cameo porn kind of hits you, and you like it. You see that the first time, and you love it, and then you go back and rewatch it, and each time you watch it, there's that character. Oh, that character kind of gets less and less impactful, and then it's still
Right.
a good time. It's still a good movie, but I think I had to watch that movie a few times recently because holiday times, my dad likes to throw on like the same 3 or 4 movies every time, and
Yeah.
and just watching it that many times, like it's kind of after you get past the whole cameo porn, it gets kind of it loses a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and like I mean, Christopher Nolan didn't release any
No,
movies this year. Quentin Tarantino,
nothing.
nothing. I'm not convinced he's ever going to release his 10th
No.
movie because I think he might just be too picky for
Yeah.
it. You know, like he feels like he's
He's
got
gonna
to.
try to make it
He's
absolutely perfect and then just not do anything,
yeah,
like George
exactly.
R.R. Martin kind of.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I thought about? David Fincher did The Killer. I probably could have put that one for favorite straight to
Is that the
streaming
Michael
release of the
Fassbender
year.
one?
Yeah, did you
I
watch
don't. I
that?
haven't seen it. I know of it. I haven't seen it.
It's very good. I love David Fincher so
You do?
much. That one was really good. I think Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross might have done the soundtrack to that
I
too.
bet you they did.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. So we'll put it at that.
I like that. The first Omen. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't. There's a lot of movies I didn't see this year that I kind of wish I'd gotten out and seen. But in the midst of
Hmm.
moving 2 different times, once to a different
Yeah.
state, and then all the job stuff going on and everything, and it's just been a lot going on.
Yeah. I guess I'm gonna go see Nosferatu on Wednesday. I imagine that movie's probably gonna be in the conversation once I see it because it just feels like it's gonna be. But you can't say it until you've seen it, obviously.
Yeah, so let's both try and see that between now and next week, and then we can do an episode on
I
that.
like that.
Let's talk about vampires a little
I love
bit.
vampires. Not as much as werewolves, but they're up there.
Yeah. All right. So that's our main 2024 topic. So next we got our top 5 most anticipated movies of 2025.
Yes, sir.
So you got to pick 5.
Take
So
5.
kick us off, Dan. Why don't you do 5? I do 1. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alternate.
sure. So we'll start at my number 5. I have Sinners, which is
Which one is
that's the
that?
movie with Michael B. Jordan. It was like Ryan
Oh
Coogler's. It was
yeah.
Ryan Coogler's Black
Yeah.
Panther draft. They turned into a vampire movie, and
Mm-hmm.
that movie I saw. I only seen the trailer for it, obviously, but it's left an impact, and I'm hyped for it. I want to see that movie.
Yeah, that looks awesome. Me too. I'm going to kick right off with Wolfman.
Mm.
So, I mean, we've talked about this a whole bunch, but it's one I'm really looking forward to. I think it comes out within the next few weeks,
Yeah,
right?
that's next on my list actually was the Wolfman. So
There we
yeah,
go. Worked out
yeah.
perfectly.
So yeah, so I'll just go to my next one then, and or is it you still?
Sure.
Okay, because technically it was 2 for me, so it'd be you, I think.
All right. Yeah, so you got the one, and then you got
Yep.
Wolfman. So the next for me was going to be The Monkey. We
Mm.
already talked about that one a little bit, but I can say that I just saw on Instagram that they're going to release a full trailer for it Wednesday.
That's gonna be awesome. I do.
So apparently, the one we saw was only a teaser.
That's a movie I didn't think of for this, but I am also hyped for it. For me, next I put Fantastic Four: First Steps.
Is that what they're calling it? First Steps?
Maybe I'm wrong. I think it's right though. Give me 2 seconds here. But yeah, I like the Fantastic Four. I always had a soft spot for them. I want to see them join the Marvel universe, and the actors they picked for the cast I think are fantastic. Yeah, Fantastic Four: First Steps. Yeah.
Look at you, breaking news.
You know what I do. So I love the cast. I love the characters. I'm just excited to see what they do with it. And hopefully, Marvel needs some more wins. So let's see if they can figure it out.
Yeah. So the Fantastic Four was on my list. Not next, but we'll call it next. And I am very looking forward to that too. I'm also really looking forward to seeing what Joseph Quinn does with his character there, because I did finally watch, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, I watched
Quiet Place?
A Quiet Place Day 1 finally. And I will say, he is phenomenal.
He is really good in that.
And so is Lupita Nyong'o. And honestly, yeah, I really liked that movie. And so seeing him in the few things I've seen him in so far, he's been really good. He was great in Gladiator 2. I really am looking forward to this. So
yeah, completely agree. Everything you said, 100% on board with it. Yeah.
I was really surprised with Quiet Place Day 1 too. I was like, oh, look at this. This is a good time.
Yeah, I said it was good, but it just wasn't quite the same as the other 2, I think. But it's not. It doesn't mean it's bad.
I think I ended up watching A Quiet Place 2 as well. I rewatched that
And
because this got me excited for it. It was still very good.
They're good movies. I'm glad you watched that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that too. Next on my list is my list, right? My turn.
Yep.
Next on my list is 28 years later, to the surprise of absolutely no one.
Oh, this was the next thing on my list too.
That's funny. Yeah, it's just one of my favorite film franchises. I didn't think it was ever going to happen. I thought it was dead in the water, like the
Yeah.
Dog Soldier sequel. But they managed to figure it out, and finally going to get to see it.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'm excited about the cast. I'm excited about Cillian Murphy potentially returning to it. You know, I think there's a lot to be excited about there. We have Danny Boyle's doing 28 years later. It was announced too that 28 years later the Bone Temple is releasing next year. I think not even a year later.
I made a joke
like
about
8 months from now. And that one is I can't remember her name, but she directed the Candyman remake.
Right.
And the Marvels, but we don't need to talk about that part.
Chloe Zhao.
I didn't mind the Marvels, but
Chloe Zhao sounds right, but I don't know if that's right.
No, that is not the Marvels.
Okay.
That is the Eternals.
Darn. Okay, my bad.
And that director also did Nomad or Nomads, one of the two.
Well, let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
All right. So my most anticipated movie of 2025.
Okay.
You probably can guess it, Pat.
Probably mine.
Is it
So-
is it Superman?
It's
No,
not.
mine's Superman. He's one of my favorite characters, and I want to see what James Gunn can do with it.
That trailer looks awesome.
It's such a good trailer. Like I thought about putting that as my favorite trailer, but I only did 2024 movies because my brain works like that. And yeah,
That's how your brain
my
works.
brain works, and
Unnecessary restrictions.
that's really what I do.
And mine it works on breaking rules, where I choose a non-streaming release for my favorite release.
Yep, nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I mean, I'm pumped for it. As you said, the trailer just absolutely got me going, and I don't have to see anything else. Just play that same trailer until it comes out. I don't need to see anything else from it.
Yeah, it looks great. I've also seen, since that trailer debuted, so many Snyderverse fans like just being obnoxious.
Not them.
So obnoxious on social media. It's like, oh my god, I figured you guys were over this by now.
They're not. They never will be.
They're not. They never will be, no. It's only a matter of time till, they start releasing their own fan fiction.
I'm sure they probably already have.
Probably. Anyways, my choice for my fifth and final most anticipated of 2025 is Predator Badlands.
Holy crap. Yep, I just forgot about it.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about this. They announced that apparently this is going to be told from the viewpoint of the Predator. And so a Predator will be the protagonist, and I assume, and the antagonist of the movie,
Sure,
right?
it's got to be.
I'm sure it'll be a good Predator fighting bad Predators or something of that sort, right?
Yeah,
But I love the idea to, do it.
that is a bold idea, and it's a World War I, right? Setting?
I don't know about that.
Maybe I'm wrong. It's very possible.
I thought it was told on like the alien planet.
No, then I'm wrong. But yeah, no. After Prey, I'm always up for more Predator movies as it is, and after Prey was so good, I have high hopes that they'll continue with the franchise. And it's the same director as Prey, right?
Yes.
Trachtenberg, is that his name?
Dan Trachtenberg, you are correct.
Yeah, I didn't think about that one, but yeah, I'm definitely hyped for that one as well. So, there's also like another Predator movie. There's 2 Predator movies come out this year, isn't there? That was a rumor, at least.
Yeah, that there's like a Seeker one coming out. I think I had heard that the Seeker one's going to be like a animated.
No, you'll hate it.
Apparently, Ellie Fanning is the star of Predator Badlands, so maybe I'm completely wrong on this whole thing.
No, I think I heard that too, that it was going to be from the point of view of the Predator.
Well, I mean that it's on the Predator planet, though.
Okay.
Unless maybe they've kidnapped aliens and brought them to their planet, who knows? Or kidnapped humans.
And they're like, hey, here's Ellie Fanning. So, could be.
Yeah. All right. So that's that. Next section. Things I want to be excited about, but I have a bad feeling about. Kick it off.
Things I want to be excited about, but I have a bad feeling about. I'm going to start off with Thunderbolts. Another Marvel movie. But the trailer's good. The trailer made me feel a bit better about it, but I just have a feeling it's just going to be Marvel problems. Too many puns, overdo it with like the gratuitous action shots and like
Yeah.
too much world building without enough story. I just have a bad feeling that this movie's going to be like the quintessential Marvel problem movie, if that makes sense.
I'll bring up one thing I heard is a bunch of people pointing out that Olga
Mm-hmm.
Kurylenko, who plays
Taskmaster.
your Taskmaster, is not in very much of the
Not at
trailer,
all.
and a lot of people think she might be the who's that character from the Suicide Squad or just Suicide Squad,
Yeah,
Slipknot.
she just
Like they get
dead immediately.
yeah, just gets dead
That's
immediately.
very possible. I can see that.
Yeah. Anyways, so would you be mad if that happened?
No. Well, no, because I don't like that version of Taskmaster. She's not Taskmaster.
They haven't given her anything to do
No,
though,
that's
you
true
know.
too. And she's a good actress. I'd like to see more of her. But
Yeah, she is a good actress. I've liked many things she was in.
but yeah, that's not the character. Like not to be not the character, but you know what I mean. it's it's not.
Yeah.
So like maybe they could kill off that one and give us their actual Taskmaster. But yeah, that movie just has all the warning signs to me of being bad. But we'll see.
Yeah. All right, so one that I have is Final Destination Bloodlines.
I know why.
Yeah. Well, first off, because they have
Bloodlines.
the bloodlines. Yeah. Like there's so many horror movies out there with the label Bloodlines. I made a list of them actually. Let me see if I have that handy. But like just off the top of my head, what do you have? You have Pet Cemetery Bloodlines. You have Hellraiser
Bloodlines. Yep.
Bloodlines.
There's more. I'm just completely blanking on them.
Oh, Wrong Turn 5 Bloodlines.
Sorry. Can't believe the movie made it.
Day of the Dead Bloodline.
There's a Day of the Dead Bloodlines?
Yeah, Day of the Dead. It's just like to me it's lazy and it just speaks to it probably not being good, right?
Yeah, that's similar to what you're saying is my other well, I have two I think left. But the next one I have is The Conjuring Last Rites. I feel like that's along the same line as Bloodlines, just lazy.
The Conjuring Last Rites was my next one too. There's also a Tremors 5 Bloodlines.
It's just so weird that it's such a common thing. Like no one, like no executive is like, you know what? Let's not use that.
Yeah.
So
The Conjuring Last Rites. So that is, it's got not gonna be good written all over it, because it's really sad to me that James Wan isn't coming back to finish the franchise. Right? If you're only telling one more story, let him come back.
He should be the guy who does it.
But instead, I think it's the guy that did like The Curse of La Llorona and the not good
version
movies in that universe,
yeah.
right?
Like the first Annabelle or whatever, I think.
The Conjuring Bloodlines. Michael Chavez, yeah, it is him. What else did he do? He did The Nun 2.
Yep.
He did The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, which actually I do like that one, but it's certainly not the best of the. It's probably the worst of the Conjuring movies. He did The Curse of La Llorona. Yeah.
I'd agree with that. It's not a bad movie, but it's definitely not Conjuring 1 or 2 level good.
No. Conjuring 1 and 2 are like phenomenal.
They are.
The Nun 2 is better than The Nun 1. I'll give it that.
That's not saying much, but yes, you're right.
It's not saying much, but like it's not like. So what do we have here? Curse of La Llorona is a 5.3. Conjuring Devil Made Me Do It is a 6.3. The Nun is a 5.6. So he was like not good, sort of good, back down to not that good.
Well, maybe he'll knock it out of the park, but I'm worried about it.
Yeah, I would be worried as well. What's next on my list? Tron Ares.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I don't really have any other reason to have a bad feeling about it, except for the fact that they decided to have Jared Leto be the star of it.
That's always a problem.
Always a problem. Also, there's really no way that they get the that the score is anywhere near as good as the last one, right? Who did the last one? It was I can picture them, the robot dudes.
Yep. Oh my god, get Eiffel 65 out of your head, Dan. It's not right. Oh my gosh, Daft Punk.
Daft Punk, yeah. The soundtrack to that movie is so good. That movie, I mean, I love Tron Legacy. I will say that it's the de-aging tech in it is extremely.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, distracting to say the least. It's always distracting. I have yet to see a movie where the de-aging technology was not distracting.
Right? Captain Marvel. Sorry. Just
I did think about that, but when he's
he's
running, he
running.
looks like an old
He
man
looks like he
running.
pooped his pants and he's running.
And then you look at the
Yeah,
Irishman,
the White Walker
and
eyes.
yeah, oh my God, it's so bad. Or like when he's kicking that guy while the guy's on the ground, and it's like, why wouldn't you use
Use a body double.
a
Like, yeah,
body double for
we don't
this?
need to see an
Like,
80-year-old man kicking someone.
right, this is obviously 80-year-old Robert De
Yeah,
Niro and not young
yeah.
guy.
He probably broke a toe doing it.
Right. Ugh.
All right, I have one more for worried about, and this is
Okay.
just kind of because the whole state of the franchise has made me worried. It was one of my favorite. Well, I enjoy it just because it's dinosaurs, and that's Jurassic World Rebirth.
Yeah. Manage your expectations on that
I
one.
know, but I want it to be good. You know?
It's got Scarlett Johansson in it, and doesn't it have dude that was gonna play Blade? Why can my brain not think of anybody's name lately?
It happens. I know it's got the guy who was Ajax from Deadpool 1 in it.
Oh, that's not good.
Man, that was a problem. Yeah, Mahershala Ali, he's in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the cast should be good. It's Jurassic Park. Like you feel like they can't keep messing those movies up, but they keep messing those movies up. And I want to be I want to be excited for it, but after the last three movies, I can't be excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Jurassic
Mm-hmm.
World, but I didn't watch either of the other two just because I heard they weren't
Jurassic
good. And I
World
didn't want
is
to waste my time.
Jurassic World's fine. The other two are
Yeah,
garbage.
that's
Straight
what I heard.
garbage.
Yep.
There's a
Unfortunately.
scene where Chris Pratt like lays down next to lava and like slowly rolls away from it, and it's like lava's really hot. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like that's not the biggest problem with that movie, but it's just like they think you're so stupid. No, no, nope, nope. Let's not go down this path. Switch off.
I could see you just like getting upset over there.
It's so hot.
So stupid.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. So let's cover any honorable mentions that we might have missed out in the sections above. So I'm just gonna go through all three of mine quick. So first off, Nosferatu. I was so sure that I would have seen that movie by this episode,
Right.
and I just have no excuse for it. But other than that, I had Daddy's Head and Strange Darling, both of which I really enjoyed. They just didn't quite make this list. Strange Darling is very good. You should watch
I
that.
need to.
The way the story is told is just very good, and the style of the movie is very good. It's good, and the Willa Ford and
Ford.
who's the guy? Not Willa Ford. Willa Fitzgerald. Sorry.
I wanna be bad. Man.
I wanna be bad with you, baby. Wasn't Willa Ford in
Friday the 13th remake.
Friday the
Yeah.
13th? Yeah.
She was there.
Willa Fitzgerald.
She was there to be topless and murdered. Godspeed to her.
Yeah, so her and Kyle Gallner
Ooh, you know I love Kyle Gallner.
are both. Yeah, he's great in it. So, yeah, check that out. Those are my honorable mentions, though. They didn't get anywhere on my list, and I thought they were worth talking about.
I had a couple on here too. First one was Transformers 1, which I went into because Holly wanted me to watch it, and I went in with no expectations, and I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. I thought it was worth watching. Unfortunately,
Heard that.
the next week, literally the next week, Wild Robot came out, and it was just so much better. Kind of like left my brain, but that doesn't mean like Transformers 1's not worth your time. I think it is worth your time. And lastly, I have Carry On,
Oh, yeah.
which is
I watched that.
it's an enjoyable little like Die Hard knockoff, kind of.
It's a Die Hard.
It's Die Hard light. It definitely is, but
It's basically Die Hard 2.
Yeah. it basically is Die Hard 2, with Jason Bateman being great. And like I went into that with no expectations for that as well, and it surprised me. Like it's one like I can see myself like next Christmas being like, I'm gonna throw that on.
You know, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody originally wrote that as a Die Hard prequel.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be shocked by that
And-
either.
Like with everything, with all the health stuff that's gone on with Bruce Willis, they were like, well, maybe we shouldn't do that. But we could still make it.
Let's get the kid from Kingsman, whose name I never remember.
and he's great in it. Taron Egerton.
That doesn't stick in my head for whatever reason.
He's great
He
in
is.
it. I told you, watch Blackbird on Apple TV Plus. It's very good.
I'm sure it is.
He's phenomenal.
He's great at most stuff he does. What was that terrible King Arthur movie he did?
I couldn't even
That was
finish
bad.
that movie.
It was so bad.
It was so bad. Him and Jamie Foxx in
Yeah.
there. I was just like, I was watching that with Sarah, and we paused it to do something, and then I looked. I was like, "There's still an hour and a half of this movie. Do you want to just shut it off?" And she's like, "I do." I was like, "Thank you."
I think I did something similar, but yeah. So those are my honorable mentions. I thought those movies were worth talking about a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. So, we got some news to talk about.
Sir.
The first thing was the 28 Years Later trailer dropped. We pretty much already talked about
As we do.
that. So, we don't really have anything else to say there, but it dropped. It looks awesome. Cool. The next thing is Chris Evans has been cast in the new Avengers Doomsday. It's officially been announced.
They got to bring him back as Captain America, right? They're not going to just have him be a different character like Robert Downey Jr. Actually, they really could, couldn't they?
I have heard from reliable sources, aka people on the internet that I don't know that probably don't know anything.
Love you guys.
That he may be coming back as like the evil Captain America.
Hydra Cap?
From
Ooh.
Hydra Cap.
Okay, I hate that guy, but that's just personal.
Well, so I think that could be an interesting idea that like your heroes from the last Avengers movie are now your villains. And if you're going to do it, might as well lean into it, right?
I mean, Hydra Cap is from the comics. Like, he is a legit thing that happened. That would make sense. And then you give Tony Stark, Dr. Doom his 1A kind of, you know what I mean? His lieutenant or first lieutenant or whatever. That makes sense. That does make sense. And then you could always bring like regular Cap back like they do in the comics to kick.
You're gonna have Hugh Jackman there to play around with, and a bunch of people like that. So
that'd be fun. Oh, I don't like saying that'd be fun. I hate Hydra Cap so much, but I can see it happening, and they probably will be able to make it work for the movie.
If they started the scene with him like going in there and then doing like the
when he murders,
and then like just like killing some people, that would be so.
When he murders Jack Flag. Don't worry about it, people. If you don't know who Jack Flag is, you can Google him. He's a guy who had like American colored hair and kind of super powered. Don't worry about
it. Yeah, so that could be really fun. That would be a great way to start the movie. Right?
That could be. That really would be, actually. That would. Oh, my God, that's what they're going to do, isn't it? That would make sense. That would check out. Oh, you kind of blew my mind with that one. Yeah. Okay.
You're like, I like it, but I also hate
it. Yeah, really true.
All right. Next thing on the list, Panic Room is being re-released on 4K.
Watch that again?
I just watched that like a month or two ago. I feel like I say that about so many movies. I watch a lot of movies, everybody.
That's not wrong with it.
But I did just recently rewatch it, and it is a phenomenal movie. It is so good.
Big fan. Young Kirsten Stewart, right?
Yep. That's not her name, but you were close.
What'd I say?
Kirsten.
Oh my gosh, I worked with a Kirsten. I'm sorry.
Young Kristen Stewart, Jodie Foster, Forrest Whitaker, Jared Leto is in it with cornrows.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep, and who's the guy wearing a mask the whole movie? He used to be a country singer.
Yep,
Dwight Yoakam.
Dwight Yoakam. Darn it. Yep, that's it. What do you got there? What do you got there?
What's it? Yeah, he's. I remember being so surprised to see him in that, but he ended up doing a handful of movies.
Wasn't he in Black Dog?
He was in Sling Blade. He was in. He might have been in Black Dog. I don't recall. I haven't seen that in a while. Meatloaf is in that.
Maybe he was in Meatloaf.
He was in Crank.
What's that movie with Kurt Russell where like I was about to say the truck breaks down. The movie's called Breakdown.
The movie's called Breakdown.
Isn't he in that?
I don't recall.
Or is that Meatloaf? That might be Meatloaf again. That might be Meatloaf again. That might just be.
JT Walsh is in that. I remember. A lot of characters I don't remember in that, though. I don't really remember where that movie goes. I just remember him wandering around in the hot-ass desert for a little while.
There's a truck that falls off a bridge. I think that's it.
Yeah. Anyways.
Sorry, the breakdown talk.
Panic Room is awesome, and I'm probably going to buy that 4K. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely going to get the 7 4K that is releasing this week, so that looks great. Funny thing about the 7 4K is David Fincher recently came out and said that he had used AI to fix some of the scenes that have like literally been bugging him for like 25 years. he said in one of them, there's like a pan shot that didn't quite work, and somebody's like shoulder gets like blocked out by something or something. He was basically like, hey, here's what this guy looks like. He like fed a shot from a different part of the scene into the AI and was like, this is what he looks like. Can you just fill him in on this spot? Because like, I forget what it was, but like a lens or like a camera arm or something like blocks a character out. So he just had the AI put the character back into it, and you can't even notice.
Ooh.
So he was like, it's so stupid, but this has been bugging me for like 30 years. And so I saw an opportunity to fix it and took it. And a lot of people, everybody who's seen it, and people have seen it because it's playing at IMAX right now. Everybody's like, yeah, you don't even notice. And other people online have said, like, everybody's up in arms about
Burn
a
the
lot of
witch.
things with AI right now. But what a lot of people have said was like, the consensus seems to be like, you know what, if you're going to use AI, this is the perfect thing to use it for. Whereas when James Cameron used AI to upscale all his movies at the push of a button, a lot of people weren't a fan
Sure.
of that.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Seven. I will probably be getting that as well.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that movie. I haven't watched it in a while.
I have the
But
Vista series DVD.
I have the VHS.
Nice. That's better.
Next up, Clayface. DC movie written by Mike Flanagan has been greenlit for 2026 release. Tell me your thoughts about this one, Dan.
Clayface is low-key one of my favorite DC characters. I think I've brought him up to you before, just randomly talking about characters I like. And the fact that he's getting his own movie by Mike Flanagan just doesn't even seem real. You know, it's a piece of news you
crazy, right?
It's a piece of news you see and you're like, that's not real. That's like an April Fool's joke in January for some reason. Apparently though, like he had the story and it just came to him, and James Gunn gave him the okay to go. So excited, super excited for it. Still doesn't feel real. I know I just said that, but it's so, I don't want to say random, but it's random.
Yeah.
Like they're just starting this DC universe and they're going to put Clayface out in like the first 5 movies. That doesn't make sense. It's a cool character. I mean, there's a bunch of different versions of Clayface. They'll probably go with the failed actor one, the Matt Hagen, I assume, but
probably.
But yeah, there's so much they can do with that, and
there is.
Very
and
exciting.
Mike Flanagan is an extremely, extremely capable writer and director. So he wrote it. I'd imagine he'll direct it.
I would think so.
And so, yeah. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see where the DCU goes at this point, because it's one of the things James Gunn has talked about is that he's not pushing anything into production that doesn't have a finished script.
Which I like.
And I think, that's a big part of that is because of his experience with the MCU, right?
Well, yes,
Also, I love that he's calling it the DCU, because everybody, myself included, was saying last time around, like, why are you calling this the DC Extended Universe and not just the DCU? Like,
stupid.
And so he comes over, he's like, I thought that too. We're just gonna call it the DCU.
And then like even like to go off your point, the logo, how they're doing the classic logo for the releases right now. It's just the classic DC logo. They switch back to it. I think it has Superman like flexing, kind of like it goes from that to the classic DC logo, which I like. Like, just the DC EU logo, get it out of here. Pretty much just rebrand and see where you go. But yeah, it's stories that he likes pretty much and that are finished. And so just see where it goes, man. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I'm also excited to see where the Batman 2 goes. Who knows? Yeah. Anyways, next piece of news. Lee Cronin, director of Evil Dead Rise, is set to direct a new horror version of The Mummy.
I know. Yeah. That's exciting.
That is exciting. I'm a big fan of Evil Dead Rise. As you know, we did a whole episode on it. So seeing where he goes with that, and I really want to see the Mummy franchise go back into its horror roots. You know, we've had plenty of action-adventure Mummy movies at this point.
Brandon Fraser ones are good, but it's,
Yeah. And hey, if this one doesn't work,
just never
bring Brendan Fraser back.
Never make another one. Are they quietly giving us the Universal Dark Monsters universe? Because they had Invisible Man. We're going to have Wolfman. It's going to be the Mummy.
Maybe.
I mean, there's also going to be a Frankenstein, but I think that's Guillermo del Toro doing his own thing like he likes to do. So
There's two different versions of Frankenstein coming out. There's Guillermo del Toro, but there's also Maggie
I didn't
Gyllenhaal
know about that.
is doing that one with Christian Bale.
News to me.
Maggie Gyllenhaal is directing it.
That's cool.
It's called The Bride.
Oh, Dark Universe coming.
So, I mean, I don't know if Universal is directing all these, but there's a world where that's something that they do. It's completely possible.
Yeah, but going back to the Lee Cronin doing a mummy movie, super pumped about that. Want to see what he does. Just got all the makings of being good, you know?
Hell yeah.
I see a doggo in the background.
Let's see. Yeah, he's a tired boy.
Yeah.
All right, next on my list, I got Christopher Nolan.
Oh, yeah.
It has been announced that he's directing an adaptation of The Odyssey.
Yep. With that awesome cast that has been
With an awesome
slowly
cast.
dribbling out. That I was hoping it was going to be a 1920s vampire movie, but I'm okay with him doing The Odyssey.
Yeah.
Like that's like if you're not going to do that, then okay, you can do The Odyssey. That's fine, I guess.
Robert Pattinson,
Zendaya,
Jason Bourne, Zendaya, Spider-Man.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
I like how you said Jason Bourne, so I wouldn't catch that, but you can't get that past me.
I'm really excited about that. I don't think we've gotten the definitive version of The Odyssey
No.
yet, and it's one of those stories that I think is like, it's a phenomenal story, and there's a ton of phenomenal stories within it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see him do his best version of it. I hope he does the fantasy version and doesn't try and do some updated version of it. So yeah, we'll see.
Like you don't want like 1920s The Odyssey, right? Yeah.
No, I don't want a futuristic The Odyssey. You know, by and large, we've gotten versions of The Odyssey already, like the one I talked about last episode with George Clooney. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou is a loose adaptation of The Odyssey.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's not what I want out of Christopher Nolan. I want him to do a faithful adaptation of it, right? And I think that's what he wants to do. I think he wants to do the definitive version of it, right?
I hope so.
So, yeah, let's see that.
100%.
So excited about that. All right, last piece of news. Fede Alvarez confirmed on social media that the 4K Blu-ray of Alien Romulus has further editing done to the Rook scenes.
Okay.
Did you see
Did
that?
not see that, but I knew that was coming out. That's why I haven't bought it yet, because I was waiting for the definitive edition, kind of, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So the Blu-ray, they did do further editing on it, just like you and I were like, please do that.
Yeah.
So he must have heard everybody's complaints.
That's cool, though. I'm glad he did that, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, me too. So I'll definitely have to pick that up. You know what I'm really waiting for to get the 4K Blu-ray? I'm waiting for a version of the cover art that I like.
Yeah.
I don't mind the one with like the face hugger, but I would love to have that on like a steelbook with like that artwork that looks kind of like Fireteam Elite. You know the one I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah, that one.
That'd be cool.
So that's what I'm waiting for.
Big boy.
Yep. All right. Physical media showcase. Final thing of the episode.
Yes, sir.
You want to kick us off,
Yep.
Dan, and then I got one thing and we'll wrap up.
All right. So the first thing I wanted to show was something I just picked up because of doing this episode. I went and got myself a copy of Sisu Blu-ray.
Nice.
All right. What you got?
Okay.
Is this what I think it is?
This is probably what you think it is. And like once again, I'm like sort of breaking the rules because like, is this physical media? Not really.
Sorry.
But it's a physical thing based off a piece of
It's
media.
your show.
So. Yep. The Alien Romulus popcorn buckets have
Heck
arrived.
That's so cool.
It really is, isn't
Yeah.
it? Let me see if batteries are included.
Yes, they are.
Batteries are
Heck
included.
yeah.
Now the question just is, and I apologize, I was going to send one of these home with my mom so she could give
That's
it to
all right.
you, but I forgot. So this thing's pretty awesome. Now you just got to think to yourself, what are you going to put inside it, right? A little action figure? You're going to fill it with candy? Like, what's it going to
I
be?
think I got an idea. I got an alien Funko Pop. No, it's not Funko Pop, but it's an alien something like that. I think it would look good in there. But we'll get there.
So this is going directly on my shelf back
Heck yeah,
here,
it is.
where it will live.
Yeah. When I get my
Maybe I'll.
room rearranged, I think I'll probably have something similar like that behind my setup instead of all my games.
Well, yeah. So now you know that they do
So I
exist,
always knew they did.
and everybody can see the other alien popcorn bucket at the end of my thumb right behind me here.
That's cool too.
Yeah, so I got 2 out of the 3 that they released. The only one I didn't end up with was the Cinemark
And
one.
I almost
really
got that.
for that.
I was literally in line, literally going, "Can I have that?" And they sold it to the person in front of me.
And like we said, that's their fault for selling those before
when the movie comes out,
the movie releases.
Movie releases, popcorn bucket releases. But can I just say real quick? I think that's the best thing that came out of 2024 is popcorn buckets.
Yeah. And I mean, look at this thing. Like, this is awesome.
Can I tell you a quick story? We went and saw Wicked, and my mom saw the Gladiator 2 Coliseum popcorn bucket, and she hemmed and hawed. Like, oh, I kind of want it. It's kind of cool. Should I buy it? And then she decided not to. And then, like, as we were leaving, I walked up to the counter and bought her one for Christmas. So I gave her the Gladiator 2 popcorn bucket for Christmas, and she loves it.
That's awesome. Is she eating popcorn?
Oh yeah, she's got a popcorn machine in her house now, man.
Maniacs.
Yeah.
You know, the Nosferatu popcorn bucket looks pretty awesome.
The coffin.
Yeah. The sarcophagus.
My bad.
All right. Well, that's all we got time for tonight.
Yep.
We've gone on for a long time.
Oh, we really rambled, didn't we?
Oh, we did. So thank you so much for doing this tonight, Dan. I appreciate it. Let's try and get back together and do Nosferatu next week.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Yes, thank you.
We really appreciate it. And Happy New Year, and good luck for the rest of the year. As usual, anybody can follow me on Instagram, Threads, and YouTube at Bark Night Podcast. And please like, subscribe, comment, send your thoughts over, send any ideas you have of episodes that you want to see, anything you think you're missing out on over there, let us know.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, so thank you all, and have a good night. And thank you, Dan. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, buddy.